Hello viewers, and welcome back to another Jammy GT video. So we are here in the FIA race at the Nürburgring Grand Prix circuit. So we had fairly average qualifying. I wasn't particularly happy with it, I wasn't particularly displeased with it. Qualified 11th, as you can see. So the opening lap, as you can see, normally the first corner on the Nürburgring GP circuit is a little bit chaotic. However, everyone seemed to have managed to get through without incident on this particular race, which is always positive. So I've been really happy so far with my choice with going with the Z4 BMW. I get on really well with it. It's actually probably the most underused car out of anything I've seen. I've not seen another one in a single FIA race. So something to take from that, other people just not giving it the credit it's due. So there we have the first yellow flag of this race, and I do believe we have someone disconnect or a rage quit, because I jumped immediately up to 10th place without actually seeing anybody. A few people making mistakes early on. As you can see, everyone is quite heavily bunched up into the first sort of sharp right hand corner, almost want to call it a hairpin. Again, the Nürburgring is one of them circuits that relies heavily on mistakes. There's not a great deal of overtaking spots. Probably only 2 or 3 that I could really point out as solid overtaking, safe overtaking spaces, that is anyway. As you'll see here, we're going to come pretty much onto the back straight. We'll come through the final chicane, one of the final chicanes. And as you can see there, all the cars are bunched up very heavily, and you might just see it there in the distance. The fluorescent green Mercedes AMG GT does make quite a huge mistake into the final corner, which we will go back on board with to take a look at, which does allow me to get on back into his slipstream. So that's to round out lap 1. And then we'll go on to start lap 2. As you can see, we're just on board here now, and we've just seen, just off the back of that, the AMG GT make its mistake, going far too heavy and probably on the brakes, which did allow me massively to catch up. And you'll see here I go on the inside for turn 1, not a move I usually do go for. I usually do like to be on the racing line, however it's pulled off a tree here. I've kept it nice and fair. He's, once again, thank you to him for allowing me the room. Nice and fair move, can't say fairer than that. As I say, it's not a move I usually do go for. It's one I thankfully pulled off without any problems. So we're now on to, as I say, lap 2, and up ahead you can straight away see that there is a penalty for the RCZ. So he's going to come up with the first penalty zone being just up ahead, so he'll go to serve the penalty. I do go through thanks to the ghosting system. I'll go on through to take that position. Not much else to take from really from lap 2. It was a nice clean sector, lap. Sorry, I do get some purple sectors. I'm really just trying to settle into the race after a little bit of a few incidents with other drivers in lap 1. So you can see I've got the Porsche quite heavily breathing down my neck. I do know how quick the Porsche is around this circuit. I have viewed other people's footage, other people's replays, so I do know how quick it is around here. So you will see, as we're coming up to the final chicane, just before the last turn, I'm going to actually pretty much invite him through, open the door wide open for him to take the position. However, we will see this Porsche later on. Don't worry about that in the race, further on in the race. So that's the end of lap 2. And then on into lap 3, where things start to get a bit peculiar in this race, it does have to be said. So we skip forward now from lap 3 onto lap 4. Nothing really happens much. And as you can see, turning into the first corner, I've been weirdly reset into the far depths of the Shadow Realm, courtesy of, I think, a curse from Super GT there. But hey, one of them things, weirder things have happened. I am quite annoyed because I'm actually set further back than my qualifying position, so I'm now P13. So at this point I've kind of semi-given up. I'm still going to try and push. I'm going to at least try and get back to my qualifying position. After all, you at least want us to finish where you started. If you're not going to go forward, finish where you start. Straight away I've got some glimmer of hope because the Porsche in front of me does pick up a penalty, so I know I'm going to be able to, providing I stick close by him, go past. So as you can see, he's going to ghost out and I'm going to once again go by him. We're then going to go through the nice sharp right hander, and up ahead is our friend once again in the luminous green Mercedes AMG. Coming up into the final sector on the back section of the NurboGP circuit, we are going to have a saving grace in the form of a yellow flag, which you'll see appear any moment now. So once again, there seems to be quite a heavy bunching of cars at the chicane. I did notice ahead, which you'll see there. There goes the yellow flag. So I'm kind of anticipating what's going to have happened here, and there is our friend in the Porsche from earlier, and it appears to have he has absolutely binned it well and truly, and we'll jump on board with him to see what actually happened. So it is a case here that he has just taken far too much of the curb coming into the chicane, so we have come back quite a little bit to make sure there was no incident with another driver, but it all seems a fair incident. He's actually done it to himself, it's self-inflicted, so we can't feel too sorry for him. He's up in P6 at this point, so as you'll see, a little bit of argy-bargy with the M6, but nothing too much there. M6 goes wide, he just takes too much on the curb, dips two wheels onto that grass, and that's it, game over for him. It ends up sending himself way into the maze of barriers there. I do have to thank him because it made a lot of places up for myself, so I'm up into P9 at this point. I'm tucking in behind another Mercedes AMG GT. Just getting a little bit sideways there. Tyre wear did start to affect me at this point in the race. It's something I've experienced with all of the BMWs. It's quite characteristic of these cars on the game. It just started to catch me out a little bit, a little bit of lack of concentration. And there's our friend again in the bright Mercedes, just again dipping two wheels on that grass, not quite concentrating enough. Shame for him, but again, it's all self-inflicted. I did go back and there was no incident with anybody else around him. So by this point we're up into lap 6, we're quite high up in the race, and this is where things do start to get really interesting in this race. And when I say interesting, I do mean very peculiar. So you can see how heavy I was there on the brakes coming into the final chicane, and that was to avoid a little bit of an incident going off between the M6 and the Mercedes AMG again. These two really started to go heavy at one another, and I couldn't quite figure out why. Again, I did review the whole replay. There was no reason for them to start going at each other in the way that they did. So as you can see, the AMG GT did make a fair pass there. He's made the move and he's made it stick, so fair play to him there. And as we come into the quite complicated section here, I've backed off quite heavily because I can sense something brewing here, and this is a key thing that I do say to myself when I do see this situation in a race, especially within the FIA races. If I can sense a battle happening ahead of me, I will back off ever so slightly. I'll keep within pace and I'll apply safe pressure just to let them know I'm there, but it all does boil over the fact that I think potentially there could be 3-2 places coming up here. They're going to start fighting, potentially that leads to them taking each other off the race circuit. You can see here that the M6 has just nudged the AMG GT wide, and as the M6 just starts to go by, there you go, savage lunge. Absolutely no need for that. It's not what we want to see. I mean, don't get me wrong, I was happy. I'll take the P6 from P13. Running on board here, you'll get a better look at what happens. So the M6 is just giving little love taps to the AMG GT. Whether you'd call it fair, but rubbing his racing, it's not for me to decide. I think the AMG driver just gets a little bit of a bee in his bonnet. So as they come through the right hand, again, that wasn't a fair move. That was just the M6 not being, you know, just too late on the brakes. The AMG driver at this point had enough. That's it. He's taken him out. Thank you very much for the free 2 positions. As I say, I've waited long enough at this point. I've really had to hang back, and so has the M6 that's behind me. So that's putting pressure on me. I know he's there. I know how fast they are down the straights. I'm quicker than him in the corners. However, in the straights, he's going to absolutely munch me all day long. So, as we're about to finish lap 7, all I've got in mind now is just really seeing it through. I'm not going to get into P5. I'm really happy with P6, especially after that reset back down to P13. I'd have settled to take my qualifying position, to be honest. To get a P6 from other people's mistakes is just brilliant. I've had to do nothing for it other than back off a little bit. So as I say, from this point on, it's just race management for myself. We're on to the final lap now, lap 8 of 8, and you can see the M6 just sending it up the inside. He's gone far too deep. I get the nice cutback, nice and secure move. So at this point on, all I'm really wanting to do is just a bit of race management to the end of the race. I'm pretty sure I can hold him off. As I say, fortunately there's not that many overtaken spaces within the Nürburgring track, unless he sends for a savage lunge like we've seen already. As I say, that's not something that you really want to see in an FIA race. It's not something you expect. I was happy to take the 3 positions, but it's just not something you want to be seeing. Thankfully, it's not happened to me. It's not affected me. If anything, it's been a positive towards me, but it's still not something you want to be seeing. So, to round out the video, just before as we're coming across, did I really deserve P6? I probably think I did. I think without getting that reset, I probably would have been here anyway. I might have even been higher up. However, I'd have been happy with anywhere, you know, generally, providing I was sort of above my qualifying position. As I say, that's always a bonus. So this little last part is the only place where I think the M6 is really going to give me any problems coming up to the last chicane. If he sends it here, so I just make sure I go nice and defensive. I'm just going to close off that line. He does pick up a penalty here at the chicane, so that does give me a bit of security to know I don't have to go too hard. So I just need that last bit of race management, rounding out that race for P6. Thanks for watching the video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did enjoy it, be sure to leave a thumbs up and let me know in the comments what you thought of that savage lunge. Okay, I hope to see you around the channel more often. Thanks, guys, and take care. Bye bye.